Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags and Metal Reviews, and today we're getting our first impressions from the new albums from Creeping Death and Thy Catafalque. So two bands today, not that much to cover, just two, but Thy Catafalque we've covered on the channel before.
Yeah.
We did their 2020 album,
Yep.
Naive I think it was called.
Yep, and I got a double 7.5.
Double
as the
7.5,
rating.
yeah, which is brutal.
That's brutal.
I mean, it's great scores, but that's literally like a smidgen less than Toe Tag territory for both of us.
Yeah, 0.5 away from Toe Tag for both.
The only thing worse than that is if it would be one Toe Tag and a 7.5. That's the only way getting closer.
I mean, that has happened before.
That has happened before too. So yeah, we've covered this band there before, but then they released
Vadak.
Yeah.
Or Vadak, however you want to pronounce that.
Well, we didn't cover that one. There was something else that came out that week, but that was also a really good album. Both really solid.
That one was on your top 5 of that year.
It was on my top 5 of that year. I can't remember what place. I think it was on 3-ish maybe.
I think it was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that. But a bunch of songs on my playlist. Just really, really cool stuff. So this one's called Alfold. You know what? I don't even want to say half of these song names because I'm pretty sure they're Hungarian. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure a lot of these song names are in Hungarian. So I don't know how to speak any other language other than English. I'm just that lame. But this album threw me off for one particular reason, and that's that it sounds like Thy Catafalque in most ways, except there's some songs that are just fucking death metal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they change up and they change into other things. Like, their songs are very progressive in that way. But like, I mean, the opening track and the title track are both straight up death metal songs, at least for the first portions of the songs. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was, really different for this band, at least from what I've heard of them. And it was a refreshing kind of like, wow, what is this? Like, especially to open the album that way. I was like, what are we getting into here? But this is a band that really likes to do a lot of things. Their music is very cultural. It's got a lot of folk in it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really cool. It's really diverse in its sound, right? And there's a lot of different vocals. I don't know if the two members of this group sing. I heard before that they don't, but I have a feeling they might sing on this album. But they usually get guest singers in. Like a lot of the females you hear singing, they're just guest vocalists. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't have a lot of notes, but I got notes about sick drum fills and growls and a cool solo and all this kind of stuff. But the thing about an album like this is it's so packed with different ideas and different arrangements that it's just kind of takes you on a real good ride.
Yeah.
Right? And I only had a chance to listen to it once or twice today, maybe once and a half. I didn't get a lot of time to listen to it. But I found myself kind of wanting more. Kind of just like, I liked what I heard, but the problem I'm having is nothing really jumped out at me and screamed out at me like the last couple albums had songs that I was like, in the playlist. This one I don't quite feel that way yet, which is a little bit alarming. But that could obviously change. I don't know. Yeah. What did you think?
Well, I too was surprised at the beginning, thinking like, wow, this is way heavier than I'd come to know or expect from this band. Like, what is going to happen? Because I wanted the crazy, wild, interesting, like, just diversity, right? Mm-hmm. So the first two tracks being, like, straight up death metal tracks, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it's like, are we going to get the crazy stuff? Or, like, where is this going to go from here? And then third track, it starts going that direction. You get the interesting stuff. Mm-hmm. Or I wouldn't say that the other tracks weren't interesting, but the more diverse stuff. And Foldel Egenlo, I tried.
Track 3.
The main riff kind of reminds me of like the bridge in Endless Sacrifice by Dream Theater, which is really cool. And then a bass solo happens, and that is awesome. And then you get a synth solo at one point, and then clean vocals. Like that's the kind of left turns
what we're talking about.
that I come to be like, oh, what the hell was that? Whoa, what was that? What was that? And
it gels together nice too.
It does, and that's a really good thing about this band is that you got all this wild, crazy stuff, and it just flows really, really well. Yeah. Like before you know it, you're almost listening to a different song, but it doesn't feel disjunct. Mm-hmm. There's one song in particular that was really kind of like the kind of mind-blowing moment, and that was Bolyondar, which is an instrumental song. Beautiful, cool groove at the start with a flute solo. The kind of like the guitar that's in the background is cool. The constant cymbal on downbeats in the background just adds so much to it.
Yeah.
And then you get a string solo. It changes to a different groove halfway through. Like, just the whole song, like, as it's going, I'm like, this is so good. Like, what the hell? And that was really the highest point for me, just listening to it for the first time. But it was really interesting to see that overall, though, this is a heavier direction. And that's what makes it feel fresh. It's still Die Catafalque, still sounds like Die Catafalque, but now it's heavier. And it's like, okay, cool, I'm down.
It's a welcome change.
Yeah.
It's a welcome change. So the other album we checked out was Boundless Domain by Creeping Death. So, Creeping Death, I don't know how long this band's been around for, but there's kind of this surge of new death metal bands like Undeath, Frozen Soul, 200 Stab Wounds, Gatecreeper, Creeping Death. Like, there's a bunch of these bands that are just kind of slaying right now and just really putting out really solid death metal albums. And this is one of them. I think this album is just solid from front cover to back cover, and it just is just really good on the grooves and the riffs. That's just all I gotta say, really. Like, I don't know, man. There's certain songs that just stood out a little more, like track number 5, Creators Turned Into Prey. That's just circle pit music, right? I mean, every death metal album's gotta have songs like this. You got Corpse Grinder on the track, Intestinal Rap is what that's called, with Corpse Grinder. Right up his alley. Like, this does sound a lot like Cannibal Corpse in many ways. Yeah. The track that got me the most, though, is track number 4, the Parthian Shot. I don't know, my writing's messy. Is that what it is? Anyways, the time signatures on this song go wild. I don't know, maybe I just was counting wrong, but I tried counting it and failed miserably. It just starts off pretty simple, 4/4, and then at one point it just kind of fucks me up. I don't know, but I liked it. And it felt like every song in the album had some personality and had some character to it. If I was gonna gripe, I'd probably say that it needs a little bit more vocal range, but I'm not too upset because there are little things he does here and there that keep it from sounding stiff, right? So overall, I thought it was great. I did enjoy listening to it. Could I tolerate it for a whole week of listening? That might be trouble. I'm not sure about that. But for listening to it once or twice today, I was into it. I was digging it.
Well, I kind of feel similar to you. Now, for reference, before, discussing, hey, what should we check out today, I did not know of this band. This is my first experience with Creeping Death. You said, yeah, let's check out Creeping Death. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see what that's about. So I didn't have any expectations. I didn't have any knowledge. So I'm like, okay, this death metal album. And I was thinking early on, this kind of does sound more in the style of Cannibal Corpse. And I think that's really cool. And it, ironically, has Corpse Grinder on a song, which has really good riffs. And I like, after the solo near the end, this slow riff that they got going. And I like that they do that in general. There's a lot of stuff where it's like they got something fast going and then they transition into something slower, halftime even. And I think that's awesome. And it's just like, ooh, what the hell is that? Ooh, that's nasty. That's really cool. But I really do think this is a strong death metal album. Like, it's the kind of album where the riffs click.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty short album too. I think it's under
36
minutes. That's on the shorter side, I would say. Remnants of the Old Gods is another song that has, it kind of does the opposite. It starts with this slow brooding riff and then picks up into something faster and it kicks ass. I found that, I believe the last track, The Common Breed, the intro sounds a lot like something you'd hear on The Way of All Flesh by Gojira, which is a phenomenal album. So like hearing that, I'm like, fuck, are we, like, what year is it? What's going on? Like, this is awesome. So overall, a really fun album. I think this is one of the better death metal albums I've heard this year. Yeah. And it's got like spices here and there that I think really make it worth listening to.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of what to review, so I think here's the hang-up. So we've done Die Catafalque before, we've never done Creeping Death. But if we're going to listen to an album all week long, I feel like we'll probably have a better time listening to Die Catafalque, just because I feel like there's a lot more diversity there and there's a lot more to pick out. There's a lot more to comment on, perhaps. I'm struggling to think Creeping Death will withstand the torture test of listening over and over again. So my vote would be Die Catafalque alpha for the week.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so that's how we're gonna do, straight up, just like that. Normally we actually discuss this before we record the video, but this time we didn't.
I'm down. Like I liked both of these albums.
Yeah.
I liked Thy Catafalque more, and I do think there is more there to discover. So
yeah,
let's do it.
So that's what we're gonna do, guys. So we'll be back next week to give you guys our full and final review of that album. But in the meantime, leave your comments down below and let us know what you guys thought of these two brand new releases today. Which one would you have preferred us to do? Maybe we made the wrong choice. Who knows? Anyways, guys, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV
We'll
Fish.
see you guys on the next one. Keep those heads back.